Was happy to hear from you. I just started listening to the podcast somewhat recently. I listened to a couple others, but I've gotten like super into it. I can actually at work like I can keep an earbud in and listen. So that's usually what I listen to. I listen to like Gorilla Airsoft Radio. They're a big
Oh
one.
yeah.
Um, there's a few others, and there's a whole lot. But like I appreciate your channel or your podcast in particular being like an on a like podcast app podcast, like not just like the kind of YouTube ones. Like I
Oh
like
yeah.
being able to open it on the app and it can go with me on the go much more easier.
Yeah. That was the goal when I first set it up was to so I use this service called Buzzsprout, and I know there's a bunch of them out there, but I chose that one because it was the simplest one that once you upload something, it puts it out on everything. Like we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, like any podcast thing. There's even ones that I've never even heard of. Like if you just search
Yeah,
Trifecta Airsoft podcast, there's like if you Google it or whatever, there's a whole list of like stuff I've never even heard of. Podcast players that we show up on, and
right.
so I do the one. I just upload it to that one site, and it goes out to everything.
Oh,
So
that's
that
super convenient.
yeah, it's very convenient. So then you can play it where you don't have to have your screen on all the time. Because YouTube, if you don't have the premium or red or whatever it's called, you have to do you have to keep the screen on to
Right.
listen to it. So, in fact, one of the ones I was listening to the other day, I clicked it. I was at work and I set my phone down and I just turned it off, hit the lock button because normally I listen to stuff on Spotify, like Joe Rogan or whatever.
Right.
So, and then it went off and I was like, what the fuck? I said, oh yeah, I'm on YouTube. I forgot. So anyway, but yeah, we're on all that stuff. So it's really convenient that way to listen to the audio part.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So man, we just kind of met on Instagram like the past week or something, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I messaged you. I messaged a bunch of people on there. Just trying to look at different people that maybe have a YouTube channel or kind of have been into airsoft for a while or whatever, and see if they want to just get on here and bullshit.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I just love talking about airsoft. But yeah, it's been cool. Like I've seen like the last few people you've had were all like UK airsofters.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. There's a so somebody, one of the girls, Chloe, Anglefield Echo is her YouTube channel. She joined our Discord like recently, like in the
Hmm.
last month or whatever. And I always look at new profiles that join to see if they have like a YouTube channel or anything connected. Any other channel things or whatever. Social media connected to their on their Discord thing. So she had a
Right.
YouTube channel. And I went and watched a couple videos, the gameplay videos, and they were really good. I was like, oh, this is cool. So I was like, I'll ask her if she wants to be on a podcast. So it took a couple days for her to respond, and so anyway, we were able to work it out, and they're 5 hours ahead of us.
Okay.
So you're on my time zone, right? You're
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm in
yeah,
Maryland. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm in South Carolina. So that so we had to figure out a time, whatever, but it worked out fine. And then it kind of like a lot of once I posted that one, there were like a lot of the airsoft girls out there that saw that and kind of tagged it and stuff, and so I asked all them. So it's been like a handful of UK airsofters that in the last like 2 weeks. You know?
Yeah, if you've had I'm thinking like if you've had that many on just like your platform, that shows that there's like a big number of women in general because like that's
Yeah.
just a small sample. And
Oh yeah.
where I play at least, like I don't see a lot of women playing, to be
Mm-mm.
honest.
Yeah, these guys here, whenever I edit their videos, all the events they go to down here, I don't think I've ever seen any
Mhm.
females, on either team, and they'll be, a couple hundred people at an event. So
Right.
But it looks like it's pretty big over there for everybody, really.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I think it'd be totally cool to see more women in it, but I guess you don't for some reason. But interestingly, part of how I got into airsoft was because of my ex-girlfriend. So we just broke up recently, but we during the pandemic. So I've been playing airsoft like I guess like a year and a half now. But once like the lifts came up off of like quarantine, we were like looking for something to do, and we had gotten a Springer pistol to basically keep like squirrels or whatever out of the garden. They kept eating all our like vegetables and stuff. So I
Yeah.
figured like a Springer wouldn't kill them, but it'll just like deter them maybe.
Right.
And then we're like, oh, like this thing's pretty cool. So she actually like researched it and like figured out that there was like competitive and like places you could go to shoot each other. Like I knew of it as like a backyard thing. I thought that's all it was like you play in your backyard with friends. Um, so we went to like a major sporting goods store, and the guy that was working in the outdoor section was actually an airsofter. Um, and he did not do like his job properly because he the first thing he said was like, "Don't buy anything here. It's like absolute garbage." Like, and he gave me the name of like a local store that I still use, and like he's like, "They'll take care of you." And he told me about some fields nearby, and that's how it started. So it was actually like her interest, I guess, that really got me into it.
Oh, that's wild. How long ago was that?
So that was a year and a few months, probably.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's funny because most of the time it's the other way around. You know.
Right.
So, because a lot of these girls I talked to in the UK, they got into it because of their boyfriends or husbands or whatever. And now the one, Alex Hillary, she or no, it was she got into it from her boyfriend or husband. But what was the other one? Vixen. Vixen had already been playing for quite a few years,
Wow.
and before she met her boyfriend at an event,
Mm.
so she got into it because of I guess growing like her brother when she was growing up. They went paintballing, and then later on she got into airsoft. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of girls in airsoft, especially down here. We actually did early on in our channel. We did this whole airsoft women for airsoft month when we first started to try because when we first started the channel, I was like, "There's no girls out there when you guys are playing." They're like, "No." I'm like, "I want. Why not? Like this is a fun thing." I mean, when I played paintball, it was just some buddies from work, so there would be a couple girlfriends that would come out and stuff, but it wasn't. It was mostly a guy, most guys. But yeah, it seems like it's definitely gaining momentum with a lot of the girls over there, especially.
Yeah. Hopefully it catches on.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, wouldn't you guys like to have some more females out there, playing and stuff? They're like, hell yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I just think anybody and everybody that you can get to at least try it, like get them to. Like not just females, but like anybody. Like that's like it's how the sport's going to stay alive is new people coming in. Like if people don't keep coming in, like it's going to die off.
Yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
that's my understanding of kind of what's happening to paintball is it's just like slowly it's there's less and less people getting into it and it's not as big as a thing as it used to be. And like I don't want to see that happen to airsoft.
Right. Yeah, paintball used to be in the mid '90s and later. They used to televise those paintball tournaments on like ESPN 3, you know,
Wow.
and it was all the speedball stuff, with the short field with the real colorful inflatables, and but it was a lot bigger back then for sure. And
Right.
in fact, I hadn't even heard of airsoft when I was playing paintball.
Okay, yeah.
It was a long time ago, mid 90s. And then I was like, oh, I don't think it really picked up over here until a lot later. But one of the guys that I've done a few podcasts with, I think I've done 3 or 4 with him, Keeper, he, he's been playing since the mid 90s, and he's got like specialty guns that he's had made. And that's what our podcasts are about with him is I call it the Keeper Gun Show because
Yeah, I've
he's
seen those.
got
Yeah.
yeah, he's got so many, bro. It's like he had a guy that was making that lived in like LA or whatever, that was making props, gun props for Hollywood, big Hollywood movies. He had that guy make him a couple of guns that, I mean, looked awesome. They looked real. Like he, painted them just right and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see how it would be a lot of fun just collecting. Like I have a very small collection. Like I just have a few AEGs, a few gas blowback pistols. Um, but some of them, like some guns, they're like I see it just like I don't want to play with that, but I want to have it. Like I don't want to bring that on the field, but that would be so cool to have. Like there's a lot of guns I look at that
Oh yeah.
way.
Yeah, we got a lot of guns like that weren't really practical to carry on the field, in
Yeah,
our mystery boxes and stuff, but they're really cool.
right. Yeah, like and I think you talked about it on another episode, but like anything like shell ejecting, like they have like bolt action shell ejecting, and then they have like the pumped action shotguns that shell eject. Like that is just like fun to use, I'm
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, that we had. I'm trying to think if we had a. I don't think we ever got a shell ejecting, gun in our collection, like in the mystery boxes or whatever. But Keeper talked about it. He had one that was a sniper rifle, and
Yeah,
then and I think one of the ones I just released in the past week, whatever, Murph Sauce. He talked about playing with like a shotgun that was shell ejecting as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a lot of fun. I saw there's one guy there's one guy I've gotten to know. He plays at one of the fields I play at regularly, and he's super into different loadouts, like historical. Like we had a game on D Day that like we the proceeds went to VFW
Oh, nice.
like for that game. So he did like a World War II loadout with like a World War II gun. But one day he just came in like a cowboy hat and like he had 2 6 shooters and they
Nice.
used like actual like shells in them. But like being a revolver, you don't really lose them. Like they're not flying out of the gun every time you
Right.
shoot. So like it was kind of doable, but still not like the most practical.
Yeah, for sure. We had that's what we had this God, I can't remember the name of it now, but one of our earlier videos we got a Western style 6 shooter
Mhm.
revolver, and it was the same type. Like each shell came out of you pulled it out of the cylinder, and then you put the BB in the front,
Right.
and then put the shell back in, and it worked that way. But yeah, so you don't use or lose the shells when you shoot.
Yeah, and I guess there's enough maybe there's not a lot, but there's enough like Western style guns, like whether they're lever action or 6 shooters or what. But like there, I know at least Balahack does that Wild West event and like possibly others. But like there's enough of those guns that they can do a whole game where like you have to have that gear to play,
Right.
which is very interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
Balahack, man, they got some cool events.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I
So you're in Maryland. Have Did I see on your Instagram you had been to Balahack to play?
Yes, so it's like Balahack is just like a little too far to do like a day out of. Like it's doable, but you would spend more time driving. So I think I'm like 5 hours. But this past summer, I went with my ex-girlfriend to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Um, and Balahack was only an hour drive from there, which like I usually drive an hour to the fields around here anyway. They're all like about an hour away from me. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm definitely doing that. And I just went for just a regular open play. And everybody I've talked to that's been there said like you have to go there for an event. Like the events are like the reason to go there. And like I do want to do an event, but like just the open play was like very impressive. Like, I mean, I only have a few fields to go off of. Like, I probably have played it like maybe four or five besides that, like in my area. So I don't have like a ton to compare it to, but like compared to those, like they were just like they were super professional. They were like they knew what they were doing. They ran the games well. Like the field itself was just amazing. It was a very good experience. It was nice.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the videos I've seen from him, Swamp Sniper or whatever, he that they have so many big events, like I think like 800, 900 people, those
Yeah.
zombie ones or whatever.
Right.
And so I think they definitely have something, a good setup for, the rules and the gameplay, the game type, and all that kind of stuff. Because to run that many people, like coordinating, like a game like that, it's
Right.
you got to have some good a good system in place for sure.
Yeah. It was cool. So like one of the things I noticed too is their objectives seemed like we started off with like a pretty much just a warm up team deathmatch, but then like the objectives were like well thought out, and it if you play the objective like it was you really got into it, which was nice. Which isn't always the case when I go to fields. Like sometimes it's just like team deathmatch or capture the flag and that's it. But like we got really into it. I remember the one game, it was like defuse a bomb, and we were on like the attacking team that had to defuse it. And it was I ended up with a few like four or five people that I assumed were regulars there, and because they knew the layout and everything, and they're like, "We're gonna flank around such and such area. Are you good with going through the swamp?" And it was like, I mean, it was super muddy that day. It hadn't even rained in a while, I heard, but
Yeah.
like still very muddy. And I'm like, well, my boots are gonna be soaked, but when in Rome, like if you're at Ballahack, you might as well get muddy. So like we flanked around and got to the objective, which was cool. But like that field is huge. Like we played on a big part of it, and people were telling me that like we only played on a very small part. Like there's a town area and a few like spots around it that kind of have like some structures or cover or whatever. And there's just a whole ton of like open woods and area and trails like around it. So for like an open play, like you're playing on a big area, but it's not like even the whole field.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the other thing I really liked about their field too was like they do a briefing every time you go out on the field, but when you go out, like you're out there for a while, like and I didn't realize that at first. Like um I actually carry 9 mid caps, 150 rounds. So like that's a lot of ammo,
Yeah.
and being out there like an hour, like I pretty much used it up the first game, and then carried my Odin with me like the second. So like I'm used to playing games where we go out for like 10 or 15 minutes,
Right.
and then whatever. But like you're playing a while, with like and then you take a break and then you play a whole another hour, which I really liked a lot.
That's cool. That's real similar to the mill sims these guys go to. They'll play
Yeah,
most of the day. Some of them are uh, whatever they call it. Full, like the whole time. It's on all the time. Once it starts Friday night, there's the gameplay does not end until like Sunday. So
wow,
they've been to a couple of those events. So if you're sleeping on the field, like in a tent or whatever, you're fair game. Like you got to sleep
yeah,
with your with your mask on, And but yeah, that's typically what, like those big events they'll do, all day Saturday, and they'll take a break at lunch.
Mhm.
But they'll play 4 or 5 hours and take a break, and then another 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. So that's my understanding of the event I signed up for in March.
Okay.
which is in North Carolina. Um, yeah, so the team that's doing the event, I think they're based in South Carolina actually, but it's called Valkyrie Airsoft.
Yeah, Valkyrie Airsoft. Yeah, they've
You
played. Our guys have played with them at GTI.
okay? Cool. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
I'm really looking forward to this event. So it's at a junkyard, which I think is a cool AO. Um, and with it being a junkyard, so that it made the ticket cost pretty cheap. So I actually got like the early bird pricing. I bought it like way in advance, and it was super cheap. But even the regular pricing is like no more than $100,
Yeah.
which I understand is pretty cheap for an event. But I heard it is because being at a junkyard, they can't use pyro, like no smokes,
Uh,
no bangers. So like being that there's cars and stuff all over the place. But that being the case, like I guess insurance is cheaper, so they can lower the ticket price, which is nice.
oh, okay. Yeah, that is
Yeah, and
cool.
I do like using smokes. I do like using like the EG 67s or like tagging
Oh yeah.
grenades. But I think it'll be cool doing an event without actually, because like I don't know, I've seen a lot of videos and like I've talked to people playing these games, and it seems like at certain points it can be like who has the most pyro to like get whatever room or whatever is what it comes
Oh
down
yeah, for real.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Especially if you have those tag-ins, man. You'd be
yeah,
freaking blasting, stuff. I mean, usually those are, I think, restricted to just like vehicles or technicals or whatever. But
yeah.
I mean, if you have a bunch of grenades and especially smoke, that's a real big help if you're trying to push a building.
Right. They're doing like vehicle based entry. So I don't know
What's that?
exactly how that's going to work. They put out a video like that shows a little bit of the AO, and they showed like people like riding on like the sides of trucks and stuff like going in. So that'll be interesting too. But
Oh, that's cool.
I yeah, so I've been playing like a year and a half. This is my first like actual like weekend mill sim, and I've been wanting to do this for a while. And so Todd, who you know, tugboat captain, he put
Yes.
on another Discord I'm on. There's like an events tab, and he posted that, and I was looking at it. I'm like, you know, that's it's a doable drive. It's not terribly far, and March just turned out to be like perfect timing for me. So I was like, let's do it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's you're not going to be far from us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we're about 45 minutes from the North Carolina border.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So Greenville, Simpsonville, South Carolina, and there's actually one of the guys I did a podcast with last week. He Gibbers plays Airsoft.
Mhm.
He's in North Carolina. Now he's up in Raleigh. That's about 4 hour drive, I guess. But I'll have to look up what event you're going to, because the guys here, their next big event is here in South Carolina.
Mhm.
They're going to GTI for Stonebreaker,
Yeah,
which is a big event every year, you know.
yeah. I think Todd might be going to that one. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure GTI like they're like a big
Yeah.
like Milsim company, right?
Yeah, so they what they do, that location, they actually they'll rent it out for airsoft events, every couple months or whatever.
And it's like a military training center, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah, they
that's
do.
cool.
So it's Government Training Institute, I think it is, but they do military training. They'll have FBI, SWAT teams, sheriff departments. I mean, all kind of, and they do live round training in there.
Mm.
So they'll these guys will go to the events, and there's like expended brass all over the where they can see all over the place. Where they just had a training session the weekend before or whatever.
So instead of kneeling on BBs, you're kneeling on brass.
Right? Oh, you better have some padding, I'll tell you. Oh yeah. Yeah, this so Gibbers was just talking about an event. Maybe it's the same one. I
So
wonder if he's going to the same one.
it's called Operation Emortan, and
Okay.
it's in Linden, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like March, the weekend of like March 11th, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stay in contact with the guys from Valkyrie, on Instagram. In fact,
Hmm.
I commented on one of their posts last week, and he was like, "Man, I wish you guys would have been able to, make it, or we missed you at this last event or whatever."
Right.
And because the first, year that we started our channel, these guys went to, you know, almost all the events around here, the
Nice.
big events. So they were
Yeah.
playing every couple weekends, at least
Nice.
once a month, but then every couple weekends too. So,
Yeah. One of the things I noticed about Valkyrie is so I saw they have at some of their events, I don't know if it's going to be at this one, but they've had events with like the amped airsoft trailer, which is really
right.
cool. And like if I'm not mistaken, they might be sponsored with them.
Hmm. I
I'm
think
not positive about
sometimes
that.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But amped is awesome. And I've been to their like storefront.
Okay.
So my brother this past November married his wife, who's from Pittsburgh. They got married in Pittsburgh. But, we got there on like a Friday. The event or the wedding was on a Saturday, but we had like a rehearsal dinner at like I don't know, say 6 p.m. And I don't know, maybe it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm like, this is going to be my only chance to go to AMP. Like, I'm not going to be able to do it like tomorrow because it's the wedding. I'm not going to be able to go before we
Right.
leave. Like, I got to go. And like, but I can't be late for this rehearsal. So Pittsburgh is a nightmare to drive in. Like, it really is. There's like a lot of one ways, a lot of
Yep.
like streets change throughout the day. So GPS can be unreliable.
Yeah.
So I'm like driving through downtown Pittsburgh and I make it there. The store was really cool. Like I talked to the guy there for a while. Um, I bought a I bought a barrel really cheap and I got the MR hop up
Oh,
bucking
nice.
and Omega Nub for one of my guns. And I wanted to stay longer and just talk and look at stuff, but I had to get back and like man, I just barely made it to that rehearsal in time
Your
just
brother's
for
like, you better
airsoft.
get over here.
Yeah, and if I would have had to say it, like I would have never said it, but like if my brother would have known I was late because of like going to an airsoft store, I don't know if he would have forgiven me.
Is this your older brother or younger brother?
My older brother,
Oh,
yes,
okay, yeah.
yeah,
So he knows you play airsoft and all that.
yeah. Actually, yeah, he does. I don't know if he doesn't seem too interested in it, but his new wife is actually pretty interested,
Really?
and yeah, so she said like her brother, who I met at the wedding, her I think it's her younger brother. When they were kids, he had what I imagine was like probably like a spring airsoft gun, and he would like shoot her with it. And she was like, that thing hurts so bad." I'm like, wait till you see like the guns that like people use. I'm sure they're a lot better than like what your
Right.
brother had a decade or two ago as a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
like
pretty cool.
when I got into airsoft, I was impressed because like I played with springers as like a kid, and I didn't really know there was much beyond that. So like when I learned what like an AEG was, what HPA and like gas blowback, I was blown away, and like also just like how much it hurts. Like I was not expecting
Yeah.
that.
Oh, trust me, I know. I was in the
Yep.
same boat
Yeah,
because
I
I was
heard
used
the
to. You heard
I heard
about
the
that?
story of getting shot in the hand from man that ooh
Oh,
that's
dude.
rough.
Yeah. So I mean, I learned the hard way. It was, because when these guys started, playing in the last couple years, I what I remembered was I bought them when they were growing up. Because two of the guys on our channel are my sons,
Mhm.
and so when they were growing up, I bought them springers to play in the backyard, and they'd run around, and they'd run in the house and shoot each other, whatever. And then as they started getting, into it in the last couple of years, the guns looked awesome. They're
Yeah.
replica. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Because they'd, show me one, like, look at this gun I got, it looks like an M4 or whatever. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, but they don't, I mean, it's a toy. It
Right,
shoots
right.
these tiny, I'm looking at the BBs, I'm holding them in my hand. We're filming and I'm like, there's no way it hurts. But
Yeah.
yeah, I learned my lesson real quick.
Yeah. It doesn't even take that much to really cause pain. And I learned that too. Like so all the fields around here are like 149 joules. for a limit, which is like 400 with twos. But so that obviously hurts, especially up close. But
Oh yeah.
there's an indoor arena that just opened up pretty recently near me, and they actually do like Japan rules, which is the max on like any gun there is 300 FPS with point twos, but
Wow.
which is low. But
Yeah.
like close up, like I had bleeders from 300 FPS.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean those were close up shots, like popping
Yeah.
through a door and getting shot like right there.
Oh
But
yeah. Point blank. Yeah.
yeah, but still, like I was very surprised.
Yeah. Well, there was we went to Airsoft Columbia, which is about 2 hours away from us, down south, and we spent the night there. I filmed and they played, and I actually went on the field, inside there with a riot shield. They gave me a riot shield and like an orange vest, so or a green vest or whatever, so people wouldn't shoot me, as I was filming.
Right.
And so I'm walking around filming, and somebody came around. I'm following one of our guys. Somebody came around behind us and shot me from probably 15, 20 feet away, right in the lower back,
Ooh,
the love handles. I was
yeah,
like,
that's
I
like the
felt that
worst.
one. Yeah, he goes, oh, sorry, man. Because he just popped out and saw a person there and shot. And I was like, oh, that's cool, man. You can, because I mean, it hurt. It stung, you know.
Oh, I bet love
But I
handles.
was like,
That's probably
woohoo!
the worst spot.
I said, man, okay, I'm awake. Tell you what. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a sensitive area, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, like anywhere on your side, I think
Yeah.
is like,
Yep.
I mean, your ribs, your arm is usually in front of your ribs, so you don't usually get shot there.
Right.
But if anywhere on like your side is going to hurt a lot, but
Yeah.
usually it's down lower because if you get shot up here, it's going to hit your arm.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you're wearing like a chest rig or something, it's got, the straps and the kind of something in the back there, so
Right,
very
right.
little of your back is exposed. But
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
These guys are usually geared up pretty good when they go, and they'll
Mhm.
come back with marks, especially on like the knuckles and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're they'll get hit in the hands, but and they'll have some on their arms for sure.
Yeah, it gets hot and humid here in the summer, so I'm always
Oh
wearing
yeah.
short sleeves in the summer. And yeah, from like the elbow down, my arms will get marked up a little bit.
Oh yeah. So what you got into airsoft just a year and a half ago, and you're going pretty steady into it then. You got like
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So have you made some friends on the field that you hang with, like a team?
Yeah, I'm not on a team, but there's two guys I play with. Like when I pretty much see them whenever I play, and we'll coordinate which fields we're going to. And yeah, I've met a lot of people I see, and where I'm located is like it's like the same distance to like every field. It seems like it's like an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes. Like I'm in the middle, and they're all in a different direction somewhere. So like I try and not play at like the same field all the time. So like I got like a few people I know at this field and a few people I know at that field, um, which is cool. Like there's never a time where I'll show up and not know anyone usually.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw on your Instagram you have a Crytek.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I'm a huge Crytek fan.
yeah.
Just because like I I have no desire to crack open a gearbox. Um, and the Crytek's have just worked out. I have two of them. I have the both of the Trident series. One's the shorter CRB with like a M-lock rail, or no, a key mod rail, and the other's the SPR with which is longer. It has the M-lock rail. But that gearbox is just like perfect for me stock. It does everything I want it to do. And then like the one thing I am comfortable doing is like hop up and barrel upgrades.
Right.
So on both of my Crytechs, I've put in Elvish Tac R hops.
Mm.
I don't know if you've heard of Elvish Tac.
No, I mean I've heard the maple leaves and the R hops, whatever, but what is
Yeah,
that one?
so I have the Maple Leaf MR hop, in my G&G gun, and it works very well. And it's my understanding that it's built. It's like a bucking that works the same way as an R hop. So I do like that. And actually, that MR hop is on a pretty low powered gun.
Mm-hmm.
So like the range it gets is comparable to like my R hops, which are in way higher power guns. So that says something
Oh,
about
okay.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but the Elvish Tack stuff, so they have a website, I think it's elvishtack.com, but they sell them through either Amazon or eBay. I've bought them on Amazon. Um, and the package I got is a ZCI barrel. So they have like most of the barrels they use for their R hops are ZCI. They have some nicer ones if you want to get like a more expensive one. But I got the ZCI one 6.03. It has the R hop patch in the barrel, and it comes with a spare one because that's one of the downsides is the R patch will wear out eventually.
Okay.
But you get a spare one with it, and then it comes with the modify flat bucking, and you can use a flat nub with the R hop, like put it in your arm and use the flat hop. But I lucked out having a Crytac because there's a few brands they make what they call an S nub for, Crytac being one of them. They make them for like G&G, VFC, Crytac, and maybe a few others. But the S nub basically you use instead of a nub, um, and it's just like it's a tiny little rectangle that's concave, and you put that in place of your nub. It basically fills the whole window where your nub would go,
Oh,
and the
wow.
arm has nothing in it. The bare arm just pushes down on it, so it gives it like a real flat surface area in addition to the R hop.
Wow.
Um, and I've had really good results. And they have so like if you have like a G&G hop unit, VFC, and I think they might make some of the popular like aftermarket hop units. You can get that with the S nub, or you can just buy the barrel, the bucking, and the flat nub. But yeah, like I swear by Elvish Tack, it just the increase in range and accuracy was just night and day. It was awesome.
That is cool. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
never heard of that brand.
Yeah, and you can get it on Amazon. And
Yeah.
I buy a lot of my airsoft stuff on Amazon. I know like you hear sometimes people will say like, don't buy from Amazon for airsoft, and like I completely disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like yes, I think yes there's like a lot of stuff you don't want to get from Amazon, but if you can do a tiny bit of research, like you can get the same exact stuff for less and it'll be shipped to you within a couple of days. Like a lot of the stuff you're going to get on Evike or Amped or whatever, you can get on Amazon. You just have to know what to look for.
Right.
But like, I mean, I guess if you're a new player and you don't know anything about brands or what the pricing should be, then you might want to avoid it. But if you know this stuff, like I think Amazon's a viable option. Like I've gotten like they have plenty of good batteries on there. They have good iPro. You can get dye masks.
Right.
Yeah, like any of the good brands. Like I mean, you can buy Crytacs on there. I don't know what their prices are, but you can at least.
Oh, okay. I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever looked up like a Crytek or a high-end gun on there, but whenever we talk about like if we've done a video on like a Lancer Tactical, any of the basic, M4s we've gotten in our mystery boxes, I'll tag I'll look it up on Amazon and tag that link,
right.
whatever in the video, and yeah, they have a ton of airsoft stuff on there. That's I didn't
Yeah,
like I said I never knew you could get the higher end stuff on there.
yeah, you can. Like so, I bought a dye mask. I've gotten I love the Titan lithium ion batteries.
Okay.
You can get those on there, and they have other good batteries too. They have like smart chargers. Anything like they have most of the reputable brands like Crytek, VFC, maybe G&G, but
Yeah.
some of the times though you have to look at what you're getting because like Evic or Evike, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but they are a vendor for Amazon.
Oh,
So
right.
sometimes you're just using Amazon to buy through Evic, and you won't get
Yep.
the prime shipping, and you're paying like the same for shipping, and also really doesn't
Right.
make any sense in that case. But like sometimes
Yeah, I
that's what it
have
is
seen
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen where they have all that stuff on there, and it'll say what who it's coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the latest purchases I got was from Amazon, and I'm super happy with it. I bought a real steel optic. It's a Sig Sauer Romeo 5.
Nice.
So it's like I think it was about $115, which it seems a little excessive for like an airsoft optic. But like my reasoning for it is like with some of the, not all of them, but some of the U.S. made real steel optics, you when you pay that price, you get an awesome warranty. So like with a Sig Sauer warranty, I can get it shot out by a BB. You'll look at it and clearly tell it was a BB that damaged it, and they'll replace it, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Which is like I think that pays for itself right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And like I mean what I used to do, I would cut out a piece of Lexan and just glue it onto my
Yep.
optics. But now I can just send it out for a new one.
Right. Right. Well, a lot of people mount the little plate, plexiglass plate in front of the optic or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I think it works fine. These guys have used it. I've seen it. And when you look through, as long as your plexiglass is new and not
Yeah.
scratched, then it's really not that bad unless you get some kind of glare. But
Yeah.
you know, I've heard people say, it's not tactical to
Right.
have that plate on there. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's protecting because I don't know why, man. Optics are like BB magnets. All the like this tiny little spot gets,
Yeah.
struck by these BBs. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Or if your nose is exposed, like between your mask and goggles, like that's the other magnet.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, at least your nose is contoured, it's gonna like glance off a little bit,
Right.
and not like your cheek and your forehead. Well,
Oh,
if I just had glasses, boy, that thing's huge.
yeah, speaking about face shots, I can't remember when you had any of those UK airsofters, did you ever talk about like Face Pro? Because I know Face Pro is kind of an issue in UK. Like some people are pretty much don't use it. And like that's a common theme in like if you've ever seen like Kicking Mustang, like
Yeah.
he goes for headshots, and I guess there's an argument on both sides, but at the end of the day, like if you were wearing a, a face covering, like there would have been no issue.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot of pictures from all different countries, including
Right,
UK, Brazil, where the guys are just wearing the goggles.
right,
I mean, hey, if that's the risk they want to take. But I'll tell you this: when I was talking to Alex Hillary, she's in the UK. She said one of her first games, she shot out. She shot a guy in the face. He just had the goggles on and busted his tooth out.
ooh,
She thought she was gonna have to pay for his dental. So, yeah, he got his tooth knocked out from when she shot him. And so I asked her, "Well, does he wear Face Pro now?" And she said, "Yep." So, yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't think most people are gonna last very long, like in bigger games
right,
where, the CQB stuff, you're moving around quite a bit. You are close range, but typically they have a lower, FPS limit and stuff. And
right,
and because you're moving around corners and stuff, you're not really, you know, aiming like up. Typically, people are aiming for body shots, just like a
yeah,
natural thing as you come around a wall or a corner or through a window or something. So I think, uh, but even then, most guys that I've seen that we've played with or been around at CQB, they're wearing full face covering. I
yeah.
mean, you don't have to, but man, it sucks getting hit in the lip or the
Oh
cheek
yeah,
or the forehead. you know?
yeah. Like I don't want to have to go around in public with like marks all over my face,
No.
or God forbid, pay for a ton of dental work like that. It's just not
Yeah.
worth it.
Well,
But
one thing.
it's kind of my understanding too that maybe not all, but at least some of the mil sims like people don't wear as much Face Pro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or maybe just like Milsim West, but I've heard of like some of those like longer games where you're playing like where you eat on the field, you sleep. Like
Yeah.
they're like I've seen videos where like people will say like they have Face Pro, but they leave it off most of the time, and they'll kind of just put it on if they expect they're going to be in an engagement. Because I mean, you're playing for like 40 hours straight. Like some people just don't want that on the whole time.
Yeah. So JP, JP from our channel, he'll wear, these guys go out, they'll wear the helmet, for a mil sim, they'll wear the helmet, the goggles, and then now Colton and Chris, they'll wear Face Pro. JP doesn't sometimes.
Hmm.
He'll just wear the goggles, but he wears a mouth guard. So just
Okay.
like using football or whatever.
Yeah,
So he bought one of those and used that for his teeth.
that's
But
a really good idea.
yeah, so he's like, I don't. He's like the chances. He said I've not been shot, too bad in the face to where it's like hurt. Uh,
Hmm.
and then he's like, I just want to protect my teeth, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so he'll wear that. But yeah, I mean, it only takes once. You get a BB lodged in your cheek or your lip. You're probably going to wear a mesh mask or something like that, in the future.
Right. Yeah, actually, so similar to it, like different but similar that it's also like a hack. Like that, I think that's a pretty cool hack, like putting a mouth guard in.
Yeah.
But one I came up with, I'm sure I'm not the first person to come up with it, but I've shared this with people and they're all like, "Oh, that's a great idea." So what I do, early on, I was playing and I took a really bad shot to the nuts, like just square on, and I
Oh,
was like on the ground, like almost in tears, and I was really racking my brain, like how can I have that not happen again? Because I never want to experience that again. So
right.
what I came up with was like when I played football, I played center, so like I would have to wear
Okay.
a cup,
Yep.
and we had compress like I wear compression shorts, and you could
Yep.
like slide a cup in there, but I'm like that's so uncomfortable. Like there's no way I'm wearing that. And then I figured like I could take the cup out, and I just put like cut like a like foam, almost like foam padding, and kind
Right.
of just like stuff that, and like it's not the same protection as a cup, but it's enough to stop a BB.
For
So like
sure. That's
that's
a good
like that's
idea.
yeah, that's a hack I came up with, and
Yeah.
I've been hit there since, and it's not going to protect me if I get punched, but like it'll stop a BB.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what you're going for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea because I wear compression shorts a lot, like with
Hmm.
work and stuff in the summertime. Like
Right.
right now I don't have to wear it too much, but because of the colder weather, but summertime, I work construction. We're always walking up and down stairs, carrying stuff, whatever, it's just, and you get chafed, legs or whatever. So I wear this
Yeah.
compression shorts all the time. I've had them for years, wear them working out and stuff like that. And one of the pairs I have is like some kind of like cyclist, biking, whatever, ones, and uh, they have slots everywhere for like I don't know, whatever, or maybe they're
Oh, okay.
some other sport. I don't know, but they have pockets everywhere, and one of them is in the crotch as well.
Oh,
You
that would
know,
work. Yeah.
yeah. So I know what you mean, but yeah, I think most people when they first start out, I think they have, if they don't want, well, even if you watch videos like airsoft videos,
Mhm.
you watch gameplay, and the most common ones, the most popular ones you watch are the gameplay ones where they don't really show, most people aren't getting, hurt, right?
Right.
Like a BB lodged in their lip or their eyebrow or, so they're, so they watch some videos and they go out and play. I think they have the same idea you and I had, like, oh, it's not going to hurt.
Right.
And then you get shot in the face, the cheek or whatever, or the forehead at a fairly close range with a 350 or 400 fps, and you're like, holy shit, okay, not
Yeah.
doing that anymore. I know when I was talking to Chloe, Englefield Echo, she said, I asked her what was the worst place she got shot, and she said the forehead. She got shot right in the middle of the forehead,
Mm.
and she's a teacher, like an elementary school teacher.
Oh
So she
no.
went to school and she had this knot. It was like a golf ball size on her head. And she said that hurt so bad for like a week. But yeah, once you get hit somewhere that you like, pain is the ultimate teacher,
Yeah,
for sure. So it's, once you get hit somewhere, you're going to go, okay, I need to protect that area no matter where it's at. you know,
right.
you know,
Yeah, I think I shared that. It was I didn't make a post out of it, but I think I commented it on a Reddit thread. I don't. Do you use Reddit at all?
we actually have a Reddit page set up that one of our guys set up, but I haven't
Okay.
been on there. Yeah, but yeah, I do use it.
Yeah, so there's like the Reddit or the r/airsoft, which I have mixed opinions about it on different days, but overall, it's a good place for if you want to just read about airsoft and like chat with people about it. But like I did make a comment, like someone was, I think the post was about getting hit in the nuts and like how to protect it. And I'm like, look, you got to try this. Like it's not uncomfortable and it works. And like people are seeming to really be receptive to it.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's a really good
maybe I should
idea.
come out with like a something I can manufacture where it has like the padding in it already, and it'd be the next big
Yeah,
thing.
market it for the airsoft community and paintball, because that's one of the guys. Who was I talking to? Oh, Vixen, in the UK. She was talking about somebody she plays with at their field, and they sponsor this Lancer, or it's not Lancer Tactical. It's Lone Star Tactical
Mm.
in the UK. They have, I think it's Lone Star Tactical Gear is what their thing is on Instagram. But they came up with a mask, a slip on, that pulls over your face, face covering, that is kind of like a gaiter or whatever, but it has a built-in padding for your mouth.
Yeah, there's a couple UK companies that make those. I think it's called like a snood
Hmm.
is what they call it. Um, yeah, that's a good idea. It's just that mesh goes over your teeth pretty much.
Yeah, and that's they kind of came up with that, or bringing that to market,
Mm.
trying to get it in retail stores and stuff. And that, so there's a, you could market something like that for, Deez Nuts.
It would have to be named something like that.
You gotta call it something like that.
Yeah, there's no other way.
I mean, BB's Nuts.
So, I wanted to ask, um, so you said you're pretty close to where this event's going to be in March. So it's like mid-March, like March 11th, I think the weekend of.
Yeah.
Um, what do you expect the weather is usually like around there that time of March?
Most of the time it's starting to get warmer. In fact, let me look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's starting to get warmer. But we've had springs where it was like a fucking monsoon, bro.
Oh,
But let me see. I'm about to look.
yeah. Sometimes like winter sticks around or like peeks its head back in for like a couple days, so like you never really know.
Right.
I have pretty good eyes. It looks like it's kind of all over the place. There's like 50 degrees days, 40, 70,
Yeah.
like all over the place.
Right.
Yeah. So what I'm considering is like what type of face pro and eye pro I'm going to use. So so in like so I have really bad fogging issues is my problem. I found a good pair of goggles that don't fog. I got their ESS, which is like a pretty good brand.
Yeah.
The kind I got, they're called ESS Influx is like the model, and it has a button like right in the center, and if you press the button, it the top of it like will vent open, like it's still full seal, and it will stop a BB, but there's like all these vertical slits, and then it kind of
Right.
like open a tiny bit, which really helps with fogging. So I don't fog those,
Yeah, that's good.
which is nice, but I don't use those in the summer because like even though I'm not fogging, unfortunately they don't put a lot of padding on what goes against your face. So like the
Uh,
sweat just like gets
oh,
all
yep.
over the lenses. So like it's like great, no fog, but I can't see because there's sweat all over my lens.
Right.
So in the summer, if it's hot, I'll use a dye mask because there's so much padding, and those are
Hmm.
also great for not fogging. But I prefer the goggles in lower face. But if it's hot, I pretty much just have to use the dye. So
Yeah.
I'll probably just bring both, and I usually do anyway, just to be safe.
Yeah, bring both. That's these guys they'll switch it up. They have when they go to some mill sims, they'll have these the full setup with the goggles, and they have the ExFog,
Okay.
system run
Yeah.
into their face, thing. So and that works well, except it's kind of loud. So it kind of
Right.
that's the only drawback. Like it works perfect, like as far as keeping the fog out, but they, it kind of if you're trying to listen, like if you're in a quiet, coming through these hallways, like if you're moving inside, and you need to hear, it's it kind of creates some noise with the motor, but
Yeah.
it works great with that. But they usually,
Nice.
like Chris uses a dye mask a lot of times.
Yeah.
He'll still use that because of those vents all around,
Yep.
and he doesn't fog up.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, so I've always preferred the goggles and lower face pro just because it's easier to get a cheek weld. But when I bought that new optic, I also got it like a giant riser. It's like 2 inches. So so like I brought my gun up. I'm in my spare room, but
Hell yeah, let me see.
I brought the gun up. Um
Dude, your dog is being so good.
yeah, yeah,
Beautiful,
she just sits
beautiful
there.
German. Is that a German Shepherd?
Yeah, that's Kaylee.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, she's great. She's always hanging out with me. But yeah, this thing, it's
Wow, there
big.
you
It's like
go.
2 inches. But
Oh,
even
that's
with a dye
perfect.
mask,
Yep.
I can get the cheek weld.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big problem with wearing all that face stuff is being able to see down your sights.
Right. Absolutely.
I told these guys when they first started, I was like, if you're not sniping, nobody uses their sights, bro. Come on. You're not
Yeah.
you're watching the BB. That's just it's a
Yeah.
natural thing. You see it, your eyes focus on it, you see where it's hitting, and you just Kentucky windage that shit, like let's just
Yeah.
move it where I need to. I mean, it
Yeah.
it would be nice to have a gun so accurate you could do that, majority of the time,
Yeah.
but there's other factors. It's not like a real bullet. So it's the wind or there's a bush there. Like you just kind of got to see where it goes, not
Yeah.
just look
Like
down the sights.
yeah. It's like to be honest with you, like I agree. And like sometimes I think I'm just like I'm trying to use it, like trying to make it work more than it actually works. Because like at the end of the day, um, what good is it like if you can't like there's no way you can zero an airsoft optic. Like
Mm,
you would have to have it be so consistent the shot ends up in the same spot every time. And airsoft guns just don't really do that. So it
right.
really you're just aiming at a general area. Like it's not really accurate.
Yeah. So like when you're looking down, so in a real steel, like real guns, when you shoot your sight picture and your sight alignment, all that stuff is what you focus on because you can't see the bullet.
Right.
So your sight picture is where you see, your sights lined up and your target, and then you never focus on your target. Your target should be blurry, like in
Right.
real steel, when shooting. So, and your sight alignment obviously is if you have iron sights, is this right here, so you're that's what you want to focus on and
Yeah.
bring that up, and then and then line it up with your target. So you don't really know, you're not focusing on this BB coming out,
Right.
because you can't see a bullet. But with these guns, we go out and shoot, and I'm like, you can try to aim down the sights all you want, bro. Your eyes naturally stop focusing on this sight picture
Yeah.
and watch the BB because it just you see this moving thing, and our
Yeah.
eyes are meant
It grabs
to
your
catch.
attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our eyes catch movement, more so than something that's still.
Right.
So you see that BB going out and you just naturally follow it. So
Yeah.
sights are a cool thing to have. I mean, it's tactical, but
Yeah.
if you're not sniping now, snipers, kicking Mustang, stuff like that, they're actually using their scope.
Yeah.
They're still following the BB through the
Yeah.
scope, to see where it hits and adjusting on the fly because of wind or
Right.
drop or whatever, how far it is. But real steel, you can't do that.
Yeah, and I see a lot of I'll see like AEG users with like an ACOG, which is like a four times optic,
Right.
or even more like a variable like that goes up
Hmm.
even more than four. Like for even the most well tuned, like you don't need a four times optic. Like you're
Hmm.
looking farther than you can shoot.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's it's fun to have, and it's great for target acquisition, right? So like if you have a
Yes.
zoomed in, something zoomed in, even those red dots kind of amplify, the surrounding, because it
Right.
helps your eyes focus through that little lens. And so
Yeah.
you're very focused on this thing, so you can kind of see a guy peeking out from behind a tree, but it's not really helping, uh, like placing that red dot perfectly in the center, like you're supposed to with sight picture and all that, and then shooting. You're just you throw a couple of BBs out there and see where it goes, and,
Right. Right.
you know, and just
Yeah.
adjust, for that.
Yeah, actually, so speaking about like watching the BBs, this is my other gun. So this has the longer rail. This is the
Yeah,
SPR.
that looks nice.
Um, but yeah, it's got this is the Ace Tech Brighter C. And I put a flashlight on the end too.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I intend to use this for the night part of the game. Like I think when I signed up, it said like the night game goes until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and like sunsets at like 6:15. So there's going to be at least a couple hours of nighttime. So I'm really excited. I've actually never played a night game
Hmm.
with a tracer. Like I've had the option to use a tracer inside, like at an arena. I'm not a huge fan of indoor airsoft, so I've never done it. But really excited to just like watch the glowing BBs fly out at night. Like, I think that'll be
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
yeah. I was talking to one of the guys that has his own YouTube channel, and we connected on through YouTube. Gunfather Milsim is his name of his channel.
Oh yeah, I like
Yeah,
his stuff a lot.
dude,
Yeah,
he's got some
because
good
I mean
shit. I mean,
he's a SWAT officer. Like he
right.
he knows what he's talking about.
He knows what the fuck's going on. So
Yeah,
he said, he made a comment. Somebody said something. I don't know if it was on a comment on his video or something, but somebody made a comment about night games and
yeah.
or night vision or something like that. And he said, well, in night games, there's people that have night vision, and then there's targets, and that's it. I was like, that is so true, bro.
Yeah,
Like, because it's if it's pitch dark, bro. Yeah, I mean, you can turn your flashlight on, but
yeah,
you're just lighting up where you're at. You know.
yeah. Man, Gunfather Milsim, I really enjoy his stuff.
Yeah.
And he's so matter of fact and so I don't know how to put it, but I could just like see him like at an airsoft field with like all these immature like kids and young adults, and like there he is, like that's got to be something.
He's
But
he's actually he's probably a lot of fun with that. He's probably really understanding with that stuff. But when he does his
yeah,
videos, he's really well spoken with
absolutely.
in how to get to the point of what he's trying to talk about. And
Yeah,
I think that a lot of that is probably you know just part of him, uh, and how he is, but also the training he's had over the last 13 years,
right,
and he's been in a teaching position or whatever, like he's an instructor.
right.
So, and when you're an instructor, man, like I remember these guys in the military. I worked, my last duty station in the military was on a shooting range. And a lot of the guys that were like over the range, over us, the range coaches, were when you're in that position, like you kind of have this certain lingo and this, the step by step, and you do it so many times, like over and over and over. We worked with some of the recruits that were coming up from boot camp.
Mm.
Uh, Now I went to Paris Island here in South Carolina, but there's a Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego, and that's where they went to qualify, was on Edson Range where I worked.
Mm.
So, but you get in this habit of, this step by step kind of instruction, and he does a really good job of doing that. When his on his videos.
Yeah. Yeah, he well so I really like what he's doing just because like I think he's trying to do it, but he's definitely like building a bridge between airsoft and real steel,
Mm-hmm.
which like might be his intention, I don't know, but like I could see his stuff doing that. Um but he's got to have like some serious patience like because he teaches with real guns like SWAT officers and like when you go to an airsoft field, like I guess most people probably don't think about it, but just using like even though it's a replica, like just having replica firearms, the amount of like safety violations that go on like every 2 seconds is just like mind boggling. Like so for someone with that background to like be put in that, like he's got to have a lot of patience.
Yeah, I know. One of the videos we talked about, we did a one of our podcasts. He says, yeah, talk just like, just about that kind of thing. The just the lack of like muzzle discipline, trigger discipline, kind of whatever. And he's like, the big thing that bothers me in airsoft is anti-frapticide rules. I'm like, what the fuck is that word? Like, I never even heard of that word.
I watched that video, and
Yeah,
since watching that, I've noticed it all the time. It
right.
happens constantly.
Yep. Yeah, man. Guys are just like, I was just talking about this with Murph Sauce on the podcast. Like, these guys come out here, most of them don't have, any kind of weapon training, growing up. So they go
Right.
to the airsoft field. Oh, it's toy guns. It's just toy guns, toy guns, toy guns. So they don't have this training at home. And I really think it's, I don't know if you have kids or not, but so I'm not trying to offend any
No.
parents out there. But look, if you're a parent and your kids are older and you haven't taught them like gun safety, you're fucking up. Like, even if you're not for guns, I think I was saying that in the last one, even if you're not, like, you don't even have to be like pro gun or whatever. Just, it's something that statistically your children or somebody's children, are going to be in contact with between the time they're, 8 and 10 or whatever until they're 18, adult, whatever. In their lifetime, they're going to be in contact. They're going to come in contact with a weapon,
Right.
that a friend, wherever. I felt, it was my duty as a dad to teach my kids this basic thing, just like don't touch the hot stove, just like
Yeah.
don't grab this knife, butcher knife out of the thing because it's sharp.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I looked at it. But a lot of these, guys go on the field, they're 14, 15, whatever, and they've never held a weapon ever, and maybe a Nerf gun,
Right.
and they get out there, so they don't even know. They're just standing there in a group talking, trigger, fingers on the trigger, batteries in, magazines in, and their muzzles right at your face. Like,
Right.
bro, get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Um, yeah, it's wild. But that actually reminds me, I think I heard this on one of your podcasts, but I don't know if it was you or someone you might have been interviewing from somewhere around your area. Did someone say that in one of the Carolinas or the Carolinas, do they not use gun bags or not gun bags, the ones the thing you put over your muzzle?
Oh, the barrel sock?
Yeah, do they not use those?
No, we don't. We don't. They're not
Wow.
required. Yeah, they're not required. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, up here in Maryland, so I play all the fields I play at are in Maryland, and there's one in PA, like just over the PA border, but all of those fields it's a requirement. I'm used to
Mm.
that. And yeah, so basically until the game starts, your magazine's out and you have that barrel sock on, and they give you a few seconds before the game starts to take it off and lock and load, put your mag in.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's wild.
I I don't like rules, like more rules, laws, rules, whatever.
Mhm.
But that one, and I didn't like it when I first started seeing it. You know,
Yeah.
a couple years ago, I guess. I know it's been around for a while, but I I I just I understand why they have these rules because, like I said, these guys, if you're in the staging area or you're in the chrono area, when you go chrono, you got to have this thing ready to shoot,
Right.
and guys are standing around and they have, if they're just somebody is walking up and maybe they don't have their glasses are sitting on their forehead or something because they're just sitting here
Yeah.
bullshitting and they're, it's hot and it's steaming up and they're like, oh, we're just chronoing, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And then some other dude is just pow, like it's going to happen, so I understand the barrel sock thing.
Yeah.
I don't like that we have to have rules like that. I'd rather
Mhm.
people teach their kids, from a young age, responsibility. But
Right.
it's when you're dealing with large groups of people, you don't know their background, you don't know whatever. And these airsoft things, man, these airsoft fields have, uh, they've tried to transition since paintball, because a lot of them
Oh
were
yeah.
paintball fields originally when it
Yeah,
was
so
popular.
actually around me are all everything I pretty much go to, they're paintball fields that do
Hmm.
airsoft. And Ballahack was the first time I played at like a field that was like strictly airsoft.
Right.
So like there's pretty much nothing in Maryland except the indoor stuff that's only airsoft.
Yeah, and a lot of those field owners that came from the '90s that had a paintball field that started transition over to both or whatever. A lot of those guys stopped playing years ago. They just
Hmm.
run the field because it's like they usually work full time somewhere. They run the field on the weekend or certain nights or whatever. If it's like a CQB or whatever, and it's not usually their full time thing because most fields aren't like Ballahack or these other ones out in California where they have these huge events that can fund this field all the time. So they work full time job. They come out. They've transitioned from paintball, and I think it's been a huge adjustment for them, and they're not used to these all these young kids coming out that don't know what the hell, and I think it's just, and then the insurances costs have gone up for airsoft fields. I don't know if you
Right.
saw an article in the I think it was like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now, but insurance was jacked up huge in some state, especially in certain states that some of these airsoft fields had to close because they couldn't afford the insurance.
Right.
So, but they had to have
God.
insurance because you have accidental shootings. Like,
Yeah.
bro, if you don't have these accidents, then the parents won't be pissed, the kids won't get hurt, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's got to be a hard adjustment for these airsoft field owners to kind of incorporate the safety stuff without being too restrictive,
Right.
and and deal with large groups of people with a wide, huge range of age range. Young
Right.
kids to whatever, old dudes like me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, yeah, I have no idea how the insurance works or what it costs, but I'm sure it's not cheap. It can't
Yeah.
be. And there's so many liabilities that go along with that. Um, I went to a single day event at one of the fields near me, and a group of guys they showed up with a bunch of launchable tagging rounds.
Yeah.
And they had so I think they had some chalk ones, but they mostly had the ones that explode on impact, which was so cool. But they were shooting them like at people,
Oh.
and like first half of the game, like people were complaining, like showing their bruises from being hit with this stuff,
Yeah.
and the field owners like agreed to it ahead of time, like not thinking much of it, and then second half they're like, "You guys can't use that anymore. Like we're gonna get sued. Like you can't use that."
Hey, look, I need to find a lot of these field owners that kind of like don't know about this and
Right.
send them or have them go watch the video we did on the tag in. Not because I
Mhm.
want more views on the video. I don't care, but they need to see the power of this thing. Like
Yeah.
they are they're meant for those mil sims or what they're meant for technicals, just to
Yeah.
shoot at trucks and whatever.
Yeah, so one of the two guys that brought all this pyro um, was infantry in the army, and he used like a real M203, and he's like, the trajectory is not that far off. Like, I was really good at this because I know how to fire a 203, and that's why so many people got hit.
Dude, this yeah, when we first shot it, I had no clue. I hadn't seen any videos on it. Okay. I had no clue what to expect. And I'm like, whatever, because we, I shot I'm 203. I also shot the Mark 19, which is a have you seen videos on that? I don't know. It's
Yeah,
a the 40 millimeter grenade machine gun.
right. It's like belt
And
fed, right?
yeah, belt fed.
Yeah.
And that and the M2, the 50 cal, were the two favorite weapons to shoot. Like you'll never forget shooting those things. They're awesome. But
Right.
though, and they throw them out there pretty far and fast. But when we started using this thing before we shot it, I'm like, okay, we got all these tarps set up. We're like 250 feet away. It's gonna be fine. Nope. This thing zings right through, and this was a dummy round. It zings right through the tarp, all the way back in the woods in the kudzu. Like it's gone. I was like, holy shit, this thing is nuts. We try to get farther back and farther back, but anyway, we ended up getting some of those explosive rounds. We finally caught it on video where it exploded in front of the camera.
Nice.
But yeah, those things are, man. I can't imagine somebody using that, like shooting it at personnel on the
Right.
field. Mm.
Yeah, tag-ins are nice. I don't even remember what kind it was. I think someone gave it to me. But it had the spoon and all. Like, you pull the
Oh
pin and
yeah,
you let the spoon go, and then the delay starts and the fuse goes off. But I like the EG67s a lot. Like, they're
I do
not as
too.
powerful as the tag-ins, but I think they do the trick.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I love them.
having the spoon adds a cool factor to it. But
Right.
like EG67s are nice in my book.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a couple of those in some mystery boxes. There was the
Yeah.
the yellow smoke.
Oh yeah, you like pull the
Yeah.
wire and it smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has the same thing, you pull the pin and then, toss it. And it's a giant smoke grenade. It looks just like the other one, but
Yeah.
it was EG. I was like, what is this thing? It's like, oh, it's this Enola Gay smoke thing, whatever. I was like, oh, we got to try this out. We have a couple of videos where we let some off and then they're walking through the yellow smoke. Um, so we just, but we never had the explosive ones, just the
Oh, okay.
smoke ones. Yeah. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, the EG67s are nice. Some of the fields I go to will sell them, but it's like a treat I treat myself to every now and then. Like, I'll buy a few, but they're like $10 a pop, so it's
Yep.
like $10 for one throw. Damn, like that money could have been put towards something else, but
I know.
just a little treat here and there.
Yeah, when you go to a mill sim or a 1 day skirmish or whatever, uh, they're really nice to have because
Yeah,
like a smoke grenade. If you guys have to push somewhere
yeah,
or you're pinned down somewhere, like it's really really nice to have. And if somebody's videoing, like somebody's got GoPros on or whatever, it's a really cool effect to have this
right.
smoke going across the field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I've heard in your other videos you were saying like after your injury you were editing a lot of the videos like your sons were giving to you. Like, kudos to that. Like, I that's one thing I probably will never do in airsoft is like link cameras up and do that. I have no desire to edit footage. Like, that just seems way too tedious.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I yeah, I was coming out of being paralyzed. I had an illness called Guillain-Barré syndrome,
Hmm.
and autoimmune disorder, whatever. Like you're fine one day, and then a week later in your wheelchair, that kind of thing. So,
Oh no.
and it lasts like recovery lasts. It lasted a long time. But
Yeah.
I was going nuts. I had to do something. So, I was thinking about this. Somebody asked me the other day. One of the guys I was working around on the job site said, that knows we have a YouTube channel for Airsoft, and he's like, "Did you?" I was like, "Yeah, man. I started like 5 YouTube channels." No kidding. I did one for my family, like just my we're originally from Cleveland, Ohio. We have my mom and 2 sisters. My wife has a bunch of cousins and aunts and uncles up north, still in Ohio. So I started a YouTube channel to post videos and stuff of like our kids growing up, special events or whatever that they couldn't come down for, just for them. So it'd be, they're not public, a lot of them aren't public. So I started one for that. So I started learning how to edit for things like that. Well, then, uh, I was sick or whatever. Me and Colton started a review channel, CNR Reviews. So we review. He's like, "What are we gonna review?" I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know. Pick something out of the kitchen." So we review like a blender or some shit. You know what I mean? Like we did all kind of stuff. Then I started a cooking channel with my daughter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I most of these I haven't really done a whole lot with. And then I started then the Airsoft channel. Then I started uh, a gaming channel, for video
Wow.
games. And there was another one, but anyway, I just I
If you've
needed,
lost track of how many videos you have a lot.
bro. I'm telling you, I've got an 8 terabyte external hard drive that is almost full. I've got terabytes that I pay for extra every month on Google Drive or whatever that I put all these videos on. It's like I found like 200 and something videos just from our Airsoft channel that we never published. Like, and some of them are small clips, like behind the scenes, like we're getting ready or whatever, or like gameplay that never, I just didn't feel, I was burned out, didn't feel like editing. But I've
Yeah.
got like 200 and some videos just from our channel that I've never even put on our channel yet. And
Right.
so 2 of them I posted in the last 3 weeks, excuse me, on just for our patrons and our members. So, and it's like uncut, unedited, just put it on there.
Nice.
And but yeah, dude, I needed something to do because I was literally going nuts. So
Oh God, I bet. Wow.
so I got into editing and I loved it. I really liked doing it.
Really?
And I did it so much in the beginning. I did get burned out, but now I'm back into it in the last month or whatever, and I'm doing these YouTube shorts and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm having a
Yeah,
lot of
that
fun with that.
that seems to be the thing now. Like if you're putting the shorts out, it's like that's how you gain traction, it seems like.
Seems like, yeah,
Yeah.
we've noticed a huge uptick in our views with these shorts, and I
That
love doing them.
that's good you love doing them, but like I'm the opposite. Like I don't really watch shorts. Like I'd rather watch like a long video that like
Yeah,
catches my attention. Like I don't know what it is, but like it's on Instagram too, like and obviously TikTok, but
right.
just these like short clips are what people want. But like I'd rather just watch like a comprehensive video of something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get the guys back together. So I sent out like a blast message to these guys like 3-4 weeks ago, saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, man, I know all your schedules are, it's crazy right now, but I really miss you guys being on the channel. I want you all to be in a video soon, where we can
Right.
figure out when we can get together." So we're working on it. We're working
Mm.
on it because
Nice.
those are the most fun videos we've had, filming, and I think a lot of people like them more, with all of us together. There's a
Right.
different dynamic than just, my dumbass sitting here trying to do an unboxing by myself or whatever. So I do miss these
Yeah.
guys, and it's we're trying to get everybody back together and have a
Yeah.
bigger
I
video.
it, Am I right? I think some of your older unboxings, it will be like two of you, and you would be sitting side by side, each with a box. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And then so there was four of us. So it was me, JP, Chris, and Coltrane. We'd all get a box. So if we were able to all get a box, so we would be sitting there ready and ready for the BOA to hit, to drop, and
Yeah.
we'd get one, and we like, sometimes one of us would get locked out, like, oh shit, the screen didn't load, it didn't happen. But most of the time we got them. So we'd have four of us. So two of us would sit down and film because that's all the room we had, and then we'd swap out, and then the next two would go and open their boxes. So we had four mystery boxes like every month.
Wow.
It was a
Yeah,
lot.
that's really cool because um, I think what a lot of people are watching those videos for is like get an idea of like what could I get or like get an idea of the mystery box experience. So if you have four boxes there, that's a bigger sample size for people to say, oh, like you get an idea of what could really happen, like more accurately.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
That's
there's
really
guys
cool.
like Salty Old Gamer.
Okay.
He's actually he's not far from us. He's in Georgia. I've been wanting to get up with him after COVID bullshit, whatever, and go
Yeah.
down there and do like a collaboration video with him, or just hang out with him, whatever. And
Right.
because he's close. And then C7 Viper, those two guys do some. They'll get like these massive unbox. They'll buy like 4 or 5 boxes,
Yeah.
you know, and open all of them, by themselves, or whatever. But and that's a really cool thing to see. But
Yeah.
yeah, we would get in the beginning. We had guests, so JP's cousin, uh, the guy's friends from high school. We'd talk to them. They would be talking to them about the BOAs coming out. They'd order one, and I think one of our videos, or maybe a couple of them, we had like 6 boxes because
Yeah.
there were 6 of us, and we'd all take turns, opening our boxes and stuff. But
Nice.
it was cool to see what everybody got.
Yeah, C7 Viper who you mentioned is I think he's pretty close to where I am.
Yeah, I think so.
Um yeah, so I've never met him, but there's one field I play at. It's in Maryland, but it's like right on the Delaware border. And right by that field there's a there used to be a store. I forget what it was something armory, but they went out of business and he basically bought like their remaining inventory.
Oh yeah,
And I think he said he lived pretty local to there. I'm not sure if he's in Maryland or Delaware, but somewhere
I
around there.
I think he's in Michigan, but I might be wrong. He might be over, closer to you. But
Okay.
I did see that video where he did the I think he did a video on it where he bought
Yeah.
all that stuff from that store going out of business, whatever.
Yeah. I never made it to that store, and it's a shame because I heard good things about it. They had they had a good relationship with Polar Star because Polar Star's in Delaware.
Mm,
Like so the proximity made for like a good relationship. You could go in there and like pick a gun, and they any gun pretty much they could have an engine in it ready for you pretty quick.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what these guys are doing now. One of the guys that lives fairly close to us down in Columbia, it's like 2 hours away. He's building a Polar Star, build right now,
Mhm.
and he 3D prints a lot of his external stuff.
Yeah.
So he wants to put, this Polar Star engine in and do a whole Kythera build. And
Mhm.
who the guy, Todd, tugboat captain, of
Yeah.
course, he's done one, and his work's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very knowledgeable guy. I think probably sooner rather than later, I imagine myself getting into the HPA world. Um, I used to be pretty adverse to it. Like I used to think like I wouldn't want to have a line. Like I just was pretty
Yep.
opposed to that. But a buddy of mine got an HPA gun, and his our other buddy, he's built HPAs for years. So the one guy that built the gun for my other friend, he actually has it's a receiver that has like Polar Star markings on it. Like it was a gun that it wasn't made by Polar Star, but it was like in collaboration with them, and apparently it's like super rare.
Yeah.
It's from like 12 or 13 years ago,
Oh
so
wow.
you don't really see those much. But he's like crazy about HPA, and when my friend Rob wanted to get into it, he knew like everything he needed, and he got the parts like cheaper, getting them used on eBay and put it together for him. And so I play with those guys a lot. And like once or twice, they would let me, Chris would let me use one of his spare HPA setups. And I loved it. Like I had a blast. And like I
Yeah.
didn't care that there was a line. Like it didn't bother me. And like, so sometimes I'll see him and he'll be like, you want to use the HPA? And I'm just like, nah, I don't want to destroy my wallet. Like if I do
Yeah.
that too much, like I'm going to have to get one. And then, yeah.
Yeah. 600 to $1,000 later, you're like, oh shit, you know? Yeah. Yeah. It can be expensive, but you know, the one good thing about those, there's no gears. It's not going to wear out, you know, as
Yeah,
fast as, you know, a regular AEG. And, God, they're quiet. They are so
yeah,
quiet. When you pull your weapon up and you don't have that, you know, that
yeah. The
winding
sewing machine.
sound
Yeah,
of the, yeah, of the, you know, the gearbox,
yeah,
man, it's so nice. It's really
yeah.
nice to shoot, you know?
And the shot to shot consistency is amazing.
Hmm.
Like every shot, like, and when you chrono them, like a well tuned HPA, there's minimal like rise and drop in
Right.
FPS.
Yeah. They're within, you know, less than 10, FPS, you know,
Yeah,
range or whatever. Like they're really, really, you know, consistent.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's
yeah.
so Chris actually built one and we filmed it and
Mhm.
he built he didn't want the line, okay? So he bought a stock that would hold
Oh,
a
oh, the Wraith stock.
yep,
Yeah,
it would hold that 12 ounce or whatever it is, the long skinny, you know, that would fit in the stock and you just screw it in the back.
right.
There's no line. So you have your tank in the stock of the gun.
Oh, that's
Now it's not
cool.
going to last, you know, probably for a 3-day mil sim, but
Right.
you know it'll last. But you can buy the, you know, an extra tank and just throw it in your pack because they're so small,
That's
and then just
cool.
take, you know, pop the back off, screw it in. So we filmed this whole thing. We never published it because he something was wrong with the hop up or the barrel, and
Mm.
it kept something kept happening. He wouldn't tell me what it was. I never saw. He would go out and test it. I wasn't out there.
Yeah, I think
So
sometimes with HPA, like the nozzle doesn't align the same way it would on like an AEG,
yep.
or like if the
I think
nozzle's like built for an
that's what
AEG,
was
it's
happening because I
yeah,
think he actually talked to Todd about it, and Todd was recommending that the nozzle wasn't coming back far enough, or you know the cyclic rate wasn't, you know, set right or something like that, and that he
right,
had to adjust some kind of screws in there to accommodate that. But I'm it was right around the time when he was getting promoted at work when all these guys' schedules changed. So
mm,
he kind of just it's sitting in his closet, and we have this unfinished thing. But that is an option if you want to do something like that. Uh,
yeah,
if you don't want the line and a big tank
yeah.
on your back.
I'm actually I'm not really opposed to a line anymore. Like just because of how awesome of an experience it was, made
Yeah,
up for like any downside of having a line. Like it's completely worth it in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. If your line's not getting in your way,
Yeah.
it's they're totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm constantly tinkering with like stuff on my kit and seeing what I can do for the guns. Mainly my G&G. Like I've paid like a tech to like do upgrades on that. Like I don't do that myself. The Crytex I leave stock.
Yeah.
But like it's I'm thinking like do I when it comes time like do I buy another AEG or should I just make the investment and get an HPA and be done with it? And like yeah, I'm probably leaning more towards that way. But like, the one thing that might sway me the other way is if like Crytek comes out with like a Trident MK3. Like the MK2
Oh
is the
yeah.
newest one, but
Right.
if they came out with an MK3, that would be like a shut up and take my money kind of moment.
Yeah. I mean, they're badass, man. They're really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris and JP both have the LVOA Cs or whatever.
Yeah, it's the same gearbox. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
those things. There's a short that I just put up a couple days ago that they were shooting these paint targets or paint bags or whatever
Huh.
with they each had their LVOAs and with drum mags,
Oh,
just full
nice.
autoing, and we did like slow motion on the paint splatter stuff. But they're just like, and those things, just shoot flawless,
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
man, it's been really really cool talking with you and
Yeah.
getting to meet you and getting to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like I like the show. I love it, and I love
Thank you.
talking airsoft. So this has been good.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. When you've played a few more games and maybe got some more gear, let me know. But we will. I'm going to talk to these guys about the March. I'm gonna have to. I'll look that event up,
Okay.
and like I said, we're in contact with Valkyrie, but I'll have to see when and where that is. We'll look it up and see how far away it is and what weekend it is, and that would be a really cool thing to go out there and with those guys, and then if you're going, it'd
Yeah.
be fun. It'd be fun.
Yep. Yeah. So for now, like I think I'm probably most likely going to end up going solo, which is fine. Because like I bought the tickets without like really having anyone else lined up. But if I can get someone I know to go, definitely going to try and do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, where can people find you on Instagram?
So my Instagram is GTF underscore airsoft.
Well, thanks a lot, man. It was good talking with you.
Yeah, you too, Yurak. Take it easy.
All right, brother. Later, man.